George Washington University say they're investigating a professor on their staff who admitted in a Medium post published on September 4th, 2020 that she's been pretending to be black for her whole career. Rachel Dolezal squared, is that you? What's gravy, y'all? This is InformOverload. I'm Charlotte, serving you spicy trending news updates since 2015. Subscribe and turn on the bell so you're the first to know what's trending, and follow the IO team on social media. Jessica Krug is an associate professor at George Washington University who teaches African American history. She's an activist who used the name Jessica La Bombalera, who spoke at Black Lives Matter events. She wrote a book, Fugitive Modernites, where she talks of her black ancestors and writes love letters to them. But Jessica has admitted in a blog post on Medium that she is actually a Caucasian Jewish woman from Kansas City who spent her entire career posing as a black woman. The blog post she wrote is called "I have built my life on a violent anti-black lie." In it, she apologizes and admitted that she assumed fake identities that she had no right to claim. First North African blackness, then US rooted blackness, then Caribbean rooted Bronx blackness. Her post read, "To an escalating degree over my adult life, I have eschewed my lived experience as a white Jewish child." She described this behavior as the very epitome of violence, of thievery and appropriation of the myriad ways in which non-black people continue to use and abuse black identities and cultures, adding that she's continued the pretense even in her personal relationships. She blamed her decision to do this on certain mental health issues. This scandal is very similar to that of Rachel Dolezal, who, if you didn't know, is also a white woman who posed as a black woman and did so almost her entire life, later claiming she was born to two white parents but she self-identified as black. This whole thing started this huge conversation about, identity and racial identity, and could you identify as a race if you were not born as a race? It seems like this kind of identity crisis could be a lot more common than we thought, though. People who know Jessica Krug are reacting to the news on social media with both anger and disgust. But here is a thread created by Yarimar Bonilla, who claims she was a fellow at Schaumburg with Jessica. "I mean, I don't feel hurt or betrayed in this moment because the truth is I always knew something was off with her. But I thought the pathologies she displayed were the products of systemic violence and not her twisted racial fantasies." See, not only did she try to pass, we need a better term here, masquerade as Latina from El Barrio, but she also told us her parents were addicts and even said that there were overdoses and suicide attempts happening during the fellowship period. She always dressed/acted inappropriately. She'd show up to a 10 a.m. scholar seminar dressed for a salsa club, etc., but was so over the top strident and woker than thou that I felt like I was trafficking in respectability politics when I cringed at her minstrel show. In that sense, she did gaslight us, not only into thinking that she was a woman of color, but also into thinking we were somehow both politically and intellectually inferior. While claiming to be a child of addicts from the hood, she boasted about speaking numerous languages, reading ancient texts, and mastering disciplinary methods, while questioning the work of real women of color during transformative interdisciplinary work that she panned. She constantly trashed women of color and questioned their scholarship. She even described my colleague Marissa Fuentes as a slave catcher in the introduction to her book. Kind of amazing how white supremacy means she even thought she was better at being a person of color than we were. That pathology remains evident in her mea culpa article. Somehow she manages to remain ultra woke and strident, still on her political moral high horse, calling for white scholars to be cancelled. In this instance, her own white self. She says she doesn't know what accountability looks like. Well, clearly she needs to quit her job, a job that, if I'm not mistaken, was a diversity hire, since no scholar can be respected when they engage in this kind of fraud. Second, she needs to start a fellowship fund for Afro-Latina scholars and fund it with at least as much money as she obtained through her lies. Third, she needs to stop with the dolezal splaining about how wrong her actions and philosophizing about her punishment. I'm not investing a single drop of energy punishing her, especially not in the middle of a pandemic. Instead, I will recommit to radical self/community care. Well, guys, I want to know your thoughts on this one down in the comments. I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts, as do I, which I will not share here because I'm angry. For now, I'm gonna wrap up this video with some quick comment features. Jenny said, "Charlotte and Jared kinda reminds me of Fiona and Lord Farquaad." Thank you for the comic relief. You are correct, yes. Zikri said, "Wait, Jared is shorter than Charlotte? How tall is she?" Taller than most. That's it for me. Thanks for watching. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want more. I'll see you guys next time.